Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your hostess, femininity coach, and author of the Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. So, of course, this story has been breaking all over about Tory Lanez. A lot has come out in the past recent week or two. The first thing was that Tory Lanez was brutally attacked in jail by a lifer who proceeded to stab him multiple times in very critical areas. It was no doubt that he was trying to delete Tory. He was stabbed in the chest. He was stabbed in the face. He was stabbed, everywhere. He was in critical condition. Both of his lungs collapsed right after that attack. They brought Tory to the hospital and all of that. The prognosis does seem positive. He was up and talking. The last report that I read, Tory was talking. He was up. He was aware of what was going on. So, we were all praying for Tory to make sure that he made it through. I did not like hearing that he got attacked. Things happen in jail. That environment is much different than the outside environment. Different things will get you hurt. Things that people will let slide out in the world is not a big deal, become a very big deal in jail when you are in jail. So you have to move very differently. This is why they call it being institutionalized when you're in there for so long. And one would think that this might have been a random attack, like I just said, things happen in jail, and you might get attacked. But at the same time, as the story began to unfold, we began to suspect many of the fans, many of the people watching the story began to suspect that this might have been a hit of some sort, because pretty much directly after those reports was this report that you see on the screen. Kelsey's bodyguard breaks silence and claims that Kelsey shot Megan and he stayed quiet to protect her. Now, when that trial was going on, I don't know who with a brain thought that Tory did that and that Kelsey didn't. Because if you remember, she had immunity. And as the trial took place, she was supposed to be the star witness for the defense. But she ended up pleading the fifth and not getting on the stand. Okay? Mind you, there were other witnesses whose story corroborated Tory's version of events. Okay? And it did not corroborate Megan's version of events. So, and also, there was no residue, like gun residue on Tory's hands. They can tell who shot the weapon. Okay? Whatever kind of test that is, they test for residue on your hands, which would indicate whether or not you were the person who pulled the trigger, not just handled the gun, but who pulled the trigger, who was holding the gun at the time that the weapon was discharged. That was not present for Tory. So there were a lot of, I don't see really how he got convicted, because usually a jury's supposed to do that beyond a reasonable doubt, and there was so much doubt. He should have been let free because of that. However, that did not happen. He was convicted and he was sentenced to 10 years, I believe his sentence was. Now, Other things have gone on. That was not necessarily the end of the story. Kelsey never did come forward. Megan was so-called vindicated, although there were many people who was like, nah, we still don't believe the story. Even though he got convicted, we still don't believe the story. This is my take. Megan was supposed to have sacrificed Tory in order to boost her career. If you know, you know. If you don't know, this might sound weird to you. There are sacrifices in the industry that if you want to be a particular status, then you got to give somebody up. Okay? Now, usually it's somebody close to you personally. Family members, moms, dads, sisters, brothers. And I think whoever that sacrifice is or isn't dictates how far you go. The closer that sacrifice is, the higher you can ascend, or the higher they allow, or they try to facilitate you as much as possible to get there, because they can't really guarantee it, right? But they say they'll put all of their power behind you so you can move forward. Some of y'all may think, oh, that's some conspiracy theory, whatever, right? That's my take. She was supposed to get Tory out of the way, not by necessarily deleting them, but just get him out of the way. She went on to release an album that flopped pretty much. You know, she had that one single that they tried to really push, the one that she was doing with the Japanese or whatever that was. And they tried to really push that. I do remember them trying to really put that on every commercial. They was trying to put it all over the place. But it was a flop. It was a flop. It's lame because she's lame. Megan's lame. Like as an entertainer, as a rapper, she don't have star power. She don't. They trying to make her have it, but she don't have it. Anyway. So her career has really gone nowhere ever since this happened. And even before, her career wasn't going to go nowhere, no way. So all of this was useless to her. It didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work at all. And so while Tory has been in jail, Megan has been harassing this man. She has been off and on social media trying to accuse him of finding ways to harass her through some type of social media influencer lady. She was trying to put her in a lawsuit. You know, her and Lawbury need to click up. Okay? Her and Lawbury. Because they stay with a lawsuit. Tried to bring this social media lady, Milagro, or something this lady's name is, trying to say that she was helping Tory to get information so he could harass her and call her. Ma'am, this man is calling collect from a facility, from a correctional facility. You can block that number. You realize that, don't you? You realize that, don't you? If you block his number, which why wasn't his number blocked anyway, right? He shot you, right? Who shot you? So why come his number one blocked? Anyway, he calling from a correctional facility, ma'am. Okay? All you gotta do is block that. And if you don't call him, he can't call you. If you don't call him, you won't talk to him. Okay? The correctional facility phone calls do not work like regular phone calls, okay? In any case, she's been back and forth trying to get different little restraining order. How you get a restraining order for somebody that's already in jail serving a sentence? So she been, in my opinion, she been harassing Tory. Now, this thing comes about where Tory is attacked brutally, almost deleted. Then this comes out, and I'm going to play some of this for you.
Not long ago, Unite the People was approached by a gentleman named Bradley James. Mr. James informed us he was working as the bodyguard and driver for Ms. Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. As such, he was in close proximity and he had privy to conversations she was having with her husband and others. Mr. James informed us he was not under a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement and was free to speak with Unite the People, and that he was doing it because his conscience would not let him not speak and leave a man in prison for something he did not do. Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had, where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun, never fired the gun. This statement aligns with the statement of the only non-party witness to the case, Mr. Sean Kelly, who at trial testified he saw 2 women fighting, 2 men break up the fight, 1 man grabbed the other one's arm. Gunshots came from the passenger side. The passenger side is where Ms. Harris was sitting. This further iterates that Mr. Peterson did not shoot Miss Pete, did not shoot at Miss Pete, or did not assault Miss Pete. It's just another irregularity in a list of irregularities in this case. For example, there were 3 potential suspects in the car that night, and yet the only DNA sample was taken of Mr. Peterson 2 more times, even though unknown DNA was found on the gun. Why wasn't Miss Harris's DNA taken? Or was it taken and the information simply never given to the defense? Why wasn't the driver of the car, Mr. Jaquan Smith's DNA taken? Or was it taken and again, simply not given to the defense? Even though unknown DNA was found on the gun.
So I wanted to play that clip because that gives a little bit of an overview as to what this whole situation is about in terms of Kelsey being the one to actually shoot Megan, and the story that Tory tells being corroborated by witnesses that doesn't have anything to do with it. And then you would have thought maybe the attack was random, didn't have anything to do with anything, except this. Allegedly, members of Megan the Stallion's fan base are allegedly donating money to this guy, which is Tory's attacker. Mind you, this guy is a lifer. He's in for like graping and deleting like a 13-year-old or something. So they got some screenshots. This is the guy. Support Santino Casio for his service. The goal is 20,000. I'm trying to figure out, raise money for what? This man is serving life in prison. He ain't getting out regardless. And I know that they can charge you different charges even as you serve a sentence, but what they gonna do? Give him life on top of life? I mean, it ain't gonna mean nothing. It's not gonna mean anything. He already serving. They can't make him serve more. I mean, he's serving. So the goal is $20,000, raised only about $2,640 so far at the time of this screenshot. Campaign was created by somebody named Alexandria Megan, which is interesting. And, you know, they give a description whenever there's like a GoFundMe. So it says Santino Casio made a bold and courageous statement, one that echoed on behalf of women everywhere. In a moment of righteous fury, this is how they're describing it. The person who makes the petition writes this, mind you. In a moment of righteous fury, he took action against Tory Lanez, a man convicted of shooting Megan Thee Stallion and continuously glorified by the internet despite the trauma he caused. Santino now faces harsh punishment and legal consequences for what many believe was a symbolic act of justice inside a system. I just want that to marinate for a little while because for real, are y'all actually doing that? Like, are y'all actually doing that? You know what? What's his name again? Santino Casio. We gonna look at GoFundMe. I'm gonna look this up real quick. Hold on. Well, yeah, I can't remember this guy's name. Santino Casio. I'm just on the GoFundMe site trying to search for this alleged post. Support Santino Casio for his service. I'm gonna type that in. Support. I don't see it. Let me search by the person's name who Alexandria Megan. I'm not finding this. I don't know if they took it down or if it was never up. I'm not sure. But I went to do a real quick check. Hopefully, this is fake somehow. Somehow they fake. I don't know. Because why would anybody be putting money on this man's books for attacking Tory Lanez? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Who's putting money on this man's books for that? If anybody's putting money on his books for it, let's just say the GoFundMe is fake, but somebody put money on it. If somebody put money on his books after that, then they're paying him for doing what he was supposed to be doing, quote unquote. Which equates out into somebody gave permission or told him to do it. He carried it out. Tory just happened to live, but it wasn't for lack of trying. I could tell you that from the places that Tory was reported to have been stabbed, that dude was trying to get him up out of here. He really was trying to get him up out of here. That was not just one or two little. Nope, he was trying to get him out of here. That's the unfortunate part. And I'm just glad that Tory is alive. Y'all really want this man like to pay with his life. Megan is fine. Nothing wrong with her. Nothing wrong with them size 11s. Y'all are sick. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host of The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.